Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. There's a lot of faces I haven't been able to get around and speak to that I recognize. I'm so glad y'all are here. Welcome to our used to be headquarters, Howe Springs Station 1. I'm going to move things kind of quick. Thank you for being here. I'll call up Captain Jeffrey Allen, one of our chaplains. He's going to start off with our invocation. Be right.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's pray. Kind of gracious Heavenly Father God, we do want to pause just for a minute to thank you for all the many blessings that you have blessed us with this department. Thank you, God, for Mr. Earl, and thank you for the vision that you placed upon him and upon his heart of what we have. Just a little bit of what we have today is from his vision that you've put upon him, and we thank you for him and thank you for the dedication that he's spent to us. And God, we just want to thank you now for just giving us a time to get together and fellowship. And I pray, God, that you'll just use this, and God, we'll be careful to give you praise, honor, and the glory for everything. In Jesus, I love you. Amen.
If you haven't noticed, I enjoy holding the microphone. I can't speak to this. So Chief asked me to read our history. If you've been on our website, you've seen a page that has all of this printed out, typed out, and whatnot. But we think it's important to just take a moment and remember where we came from. So it's a few paragraphs long. It's obviously not dry because it's about us. So let's read this and just remember where we came from. So one day in early 1970, the City of Florence Fire Department responded to a house fire in Terra Village. Once the city arrived on scene, they made every effort to extinguish the fire until their water supply was exhausted. Meanwhile, neighbors grabbed water hoses and sprayed water on the home next door to keep it cool. These neighbors, Mr. Earl Liner, Mr. Charlie Tripp, Sr., Bill Neal, and J.W. Jackson decided that their community needed a fire department. These four men felt so badly for the woman who had just lost her house that they began meeting privately in their homes to do something about it. The first official meeting was organized for the Rural Fire Department on August 27th, 1970, 50 years ago, with 44 persons present. In this meeting, there were people who offered donations that would be essential to starting the fire department. A special meeting of the Board of Directors was held September 10th, in which bylaws were established and a file for the charter was drawn up. The charter was granted by the state of South Carolina on September 22nd, 1970. The first year, under the direction of Chief Jesse Benton, Howe Springs operated with 2 trucks covering a large area, including up to the town of Timmonsville, Lynch's River, Hoffmeyer Road, and the Hyman community. So for those of you that may or may not know, that is quite a larger area than we covered today. So they had a lot of tasks ahead of them. Some fundraising projects that helped Howe Springs get started included a $10,000 club raffle. They offered a Pinto car. They did a turkey shoot and a fire extinguisher sale. In competition, I guess, with Collins in the area. Howe Springs' first truck was a 1942 Ford open cab pumper. In February 1971, a 1957 GMC pumper was obtained from Mullins Rural Fire Department. So shout out to them, we appreciate that. Howe Springs had not yet secured a building, so apparatus were being parked in a barn. Anytime there was a fire, the first thing the firemen had to do was to get a flashlight and look for snakes. Thank the good Lord we don't have to do that today. The firemen were delayed on a couple of occasions due to trying to coax a snake out of the truck. I think we have some members in here who would just say the truck's out of service and wouldn't even have responded. The dispatching of our fires was done by Miss Letha Morris. Miss Morris dispatched us by the old, reliable Southern Bell telephone system for the first couple of years. And after that, Miss Morris used a CB radio to dispatch the firemen, and shortly thereafter started using a low-band radio system. Miss Morris also started dispatching the Windy Hill Fire Department in May of 1973, and was a vital part of the success of our county's fire service. It was not until 1990s that we started using a central dispatch center and switched over to the 800 megahertz system. In the early part of 1977, Howe Springs expanded to open a substation in the Clawson and Evergreen. These new stations helped lower our ISO rating to 7 and 9 and provided better fire protection in that area. In the early part of 1982, the Cusack community started a fundraiser that provided them with a station and some trucks that would eventually become a Howe Springs substation. In the early 1990s, a substation was built on Highway 52. With these and other apparatus additions, we were able to bring our ISO rating to a 5 in 2005. In 2006, another substation was added in the Savannah Grove community. The Howe Springs Junior Fire Department was restarted in 1980 under the direction of Donnie Lee and Joe Batista. In 1984, under the direction of Earl Liner, the Junior Fire Department built Howe Springs their first service truck that was placed in service in the winter of 1984. In 2007, the junior program became Explorer Post 711 and allowed boys and girls between the ages of 14 and 17 the ability to participate in the fire department activities, which I think we can all agree is a very vital part of our organization even today. In 1988, Howe Springs Fire Department was responding to MVAs at the request of EMS when there was an extended response time for rescue. After several times of needing extrication equipment on scene, the department decided to become trained and equipped to handle rescue calls. The department has extrication equipment on the first out pumpers and rescue apparatus. In the late 1990s, we also took the responsibility of running medical first responder calls. So that is a history of Howe Springs Fire Department, and I believe we can all attribute that success to Mr. Earl and those who met on that first night to charter Howe Springs Fire Department. Thank you.
All right, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, especially some of the members that are here, or past members that are here that work alongside Mr. Earl, be thinking of a memory. Maybe a funny memory you have with him on a call, or a situation in the station, because after I get done, anybody that would like to come up and tell a memory, and let's keep it, we've got families here, so good memories. But come up and share a memory about Mr. Earl. We greatly appreciate it. I know it's warm. I thank the good Lord He gave us a beautiful day to do this. We started this last year, and we had the family over at the new headquarters, and we unveiled the plaque to them and let them see it, and we told them we were going to do this for them. And then the corona hit. And I said, well, that'll blow over in a couple of weeks and we'll get this done, and it's just not going to blow over. So we're getting it done. So I appreciate every one of you being here under the circumstances, and we're going to make it quick. So to my current members today, I actually typed it out, so it ain't going to be long-winded. Thank you for all coming out today to show respect to what I consider to be one of the most important contributors to the fire service in Florence County. Howe Springs Fire Rescue was created in 1970 by the vision of this great man. Through compassion for his fellow man and concern for his community, he helped create one of the greatest fire departments that there is in the state. Through his vision, our department has grown into a proactive fire rescue department that covers 152 square miles out of 7 stations. To some, Chief Liner may just be another member of the Howe Springs Fire Rescue Department. To some, he may be that guy that made seafoam green fire trucks cool. But if you look a lot deeper into the department and into each other, he's a lot more than that. Chief Liner started a trend in Florence County. If you look at the charter dates, it is obviously clear that other communities quickly realized what Earl has started, and many others followed suit, creating their own fire departments to protect their parts of their county. Thousands of lives have been saved over the last 50 years by members of Howe Springs Fire Rescue. Millions of dollars in property have been saved by Howe Springs Fire Rescue. Hundreds of careers have been started out of the Howe Springs Fire Rescue, and so many friendships have been made because of Howe Springs Fire Rescue. Several members have met their spouse, married, and had children because of Howe Springs Fire Rescue. I guess you could say that Chief Liner is responsible for more than just creating the fire department. We've had our ups, our downs, our proud moments, our embarrassing ones, but one thing for sure, Howe Springs was built on a solid foundation by our founding members, so we have always been able to stand strong and steady for our community. Chief Liner should be very proud standing here today knowing that what began as a vision is now not just a regionally recognized, not just a state recognized, but a nationally known and recognized department. Dedicating the station is just a small token of our appreciation for our vision. Your willingness to serve, your commitment to see us through the rough times, and your steadfast leadership. Chief Liner, thank you for not only giving me the opportunity to lead your department, but I also thank you for creating a department that has been such a great part of all of our lives. I would not be fair if I didn't thank Miss Liner and your family for the support they gave you over the years. I'm learning firsthand the sacrifice that a fire chief's family has to make to do this job. I also want to thank all the retired members that are here today. There's a lot of them. It is great. This is our 50-year anniversary. It's a big occasion for us this year, and to be able to do this for Mr. Earl on the 50th year of Howe Springs is just momentum to me to push forward, and we're doing great things. For those that haven't stayed in contact with the department, I just want you to understand that the men and women you see today in uniform that are currently serving, they haven't forgot about the history. They're pushing forward. Even some of the cultures that maybe the county or state says, hey, y'all should change this. That's our heritage. That's our history. We're keeping it the way it is, and they're staying true to Howe Springs and what we've all created and stand for. So, Mr. Earl, I want to say thank you for everything that you've done for your community, for me, my family. I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for you and what you and the other gentlemen. And again, I'd like to thank the other ones that helped create this. Just like me, I don't stand alone. I've got all these great men and women that back me every day and help me do the job. Mr. Earl had the same thing, but today's about Mr. Earl. So, Chief Earl, appreciate everything you do. So now, if you would, if anybody's got a quick memory, story that you would like to tell about Mr. Earl, come on, Mr. Donnie. Mr. Donnie was raising, you better be ready because he was raising his hand before I got done. He got something to say.
All of you that don't know, Earl used to smoke cigars. Earl would smoke a cigar till he'd have to turn his head sideways. Well, the problem Earl and I had was if I saw Earl light a cigar, we were going to have a brush fire sometime or another. And it got to be a trend. So if I ever saw Earl take his lighter out, I would turn around and look the other way and we were fine. But sometimes he would go Donnie. And I knew it was time. People didn't think it happened, but it did. People got to notice, and if I ever saw Earl light that cigar, you may as well get ready. Appreciate your service, Earl.
Anybody else like to step up? And Chief Ivy, thank you for being here.
Well, my fondest memory of this man, I was out of work and I got a job with Labor Force. He was the maintenance supervisor at seal tests. And let me tell you, the man put a paintbrush in your hand and all he tells you, if it don't move, paint it. And I painted till I couldn't paint no more. But I tell you what, he taught me a lot in the fire service. I appreciate it, and I'm proud of it. Hey, Earl.
Anybody else? Come on up. Take your time, Miss Ivy.
She'd be so proud of you. I feel her here with you today. I've known you for 50 years, longer than I've known Johnny. I love you with all my heart. You're my family. Marie sacrificed so much. So many bake sales, so many cooking, so many cookbooks, so many yard sales. We busted our fannies. And Marie was there every single time. Your children were born in this fire department. I love them with all my heart. You built it with blood, sweat, prayers, and tears. And your wife did. Your family did. Lisa did. But what people don't know is that all the years of my traveling, 3 states, you built more junior fire departments than anyone can count. Everywhere I went was tell us about Earl Liner and your junior fire program. You built so many. At one time, Howe Springs Fire Department had the largest junior fire department of 2 full states. And it was because of you. You loved them, you guided them, you chewed them out like they were belonged to you. And all the times you fussed at them about how fast they drove. Johnny Mac and Frank didn't stand a chance. But they grew to love you. And they grew to respect you. And that was so important. I grew to love you. I've always respected you. And Lisa would be so honored and so proud. And I'm honored to call you my best friend. I love you dearly. And I thank you for everything you ever did for everybody. You deserve this.
She brought up Mr. Earl fussing at people when they're driving. I had a couple of officers that was going to get up here and talk, and about all their memories was Mr. Earl fussing at them about their driving and their current roles as officer in this department. They didn't want to admit that they've made mistakes too. So he must have done a lot of fussing in his day about driving. Who else we got? Any other memories? I'm going to leave you with this one. This is not one of the... Come on, Mr. Wayne. I'll go ahead and tell you mine while Mr. Wayne's getting up here. This is not one of the funnest memories. Mr. Wayne was there. But if you've been in Howe Springs Fire Department long enough, you know that we have some, I guess you would say, less than enjoyable meetings sometimes. We're very passionate in what we believe in, and sometimes our meetings get a little out of hand. And one of the first meetings I went to, and I'm not going to name no names or anything, a couple of the gentlemen in the meeting got a little heated, and all of a sudden tables was being turned over, and a man about three times the size of Mr. Earl was going after another. And I just remember Earl getting in the doorway, and he locked arms, and he kept that man from getting to the other one. And me and Mr. Wayne's just sitting back going, "Oh God, oh God, oh God." But Mr. Earl, he stood fast. He's like, you ain't doing this. And that's, I think about that all the time. You know, yeah, it's not one of the proudest moments of Howe Springs, but to watch Mr. Earl as a leader in the department stand up and get in front of a man that size and say, "Hey, no, we don't handle business that way." One of the fondest memories I have with Mr. Earl. Come on, Mr. Earl.
Earl, I can remember close to 40 years ago, I called you and asked you, did y'all need anyone for the fire department? And I can remember you saying, we're full up right now. And I think about next month I called you again and you said, yeah, we had openings. So I joined this department. And it's been up and down. And I always looked up to you. Always. And I still do. I know I can remember You driving that red Falcon, that long antenna. I've been going back and forth these fires. I tell you what, if I had $1 every money you put money in that little Falcon, we all probably wouldn't even have to work today. Because that's how much you love the community. And I want to say I appreciate you and your family for what you have done. And, if it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't even be in Howe Springs today. God bless you. God bless your family. And we love all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Wayne. Anybody else? Last call. All right.
What if you do this?
Take your time.
I'm very proud of my dad. He's taught me a lot. I've learned a lot from him. When I was a junior, as much as I hated to get out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, go to a fire, I was there with him. That was my place. And I couldn't be the person I am without him. I love you.
All right, anybody else? Mr. Earl, would you come on up? And we'll give you the opportunity to say a few words too. But on behalf of the department, current members, we want to present you with this plaque to put up in your house, and it's pretty much a mirror of what's on the wall out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Y'all say a few words, Mr. Earl?
I appreciate every one of you coming out. I'm not a public speaker. I do get emotional, like my daughter. I was not the one who built this fire department. The fire department was built with people just like the ones here. Many of the ones who are here are the ones who did it. I was only a figurehead. Without each and every past and present fire department member, this building, this department, this county fire structure would not exist. No one person did it. It took everyone. And hopefully, with the grace of God, they will continue to grow, not just in Florence County, but statewide. Thank everyone for everything they've done for me and my family. And special thanks to my wife and my daughter, and my son who we lost a year ago, Jude. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Earl. Now, we're going to move outside. We do have a little bit of that inside lane blocked off so we can get everybody out there, but please be conscious that if you proceed